Maybe you will. What's that smell?
Oh, are you recording already for? Oh, look at this, huh? That was that's kind of like uh, uh, I don't even know how to phrase this, but like when it's kind of a just a tip kind of thing, you know?
Just a
Like,
tip.
yeah, you're like when you're not expecting, you just get the whole thing at once. So now it's recording.
It is, Dolph. Welcome back.
That
Another
was
episode, Unfiltered Copenhagen. What is it, number 25 now?
something along those lines, yeah.
Yep. That's how we do it. Just jump right in.
Well, I was seriously not expecting this. Actually, I just looked at you and I saw your kind of like a grin, like a sneaky smile, you know, like like a small kid who knows he's done something mischievous and he's just waiting for the parents' reaction.
I
And
just
then
thought it
it's
was
like,
about time to get on with it,
yeah,
Got
yeah.
some stuff to discuss this week.
What do we have to discuss for it?
Hmm.
Well, before we start discussing,
Yeah, let's not go right into that.
No. Let's start on
Let's be frank. This is a bit of a news show, but not only a news show.
We're recording this on Sunday.
Yeah.
I was playing poker yesterday.
Did you win anything?
Of course, I won something. Come on, for it.
But did you come home net positive? Is what I mean.
Well, it's 5 tournaments and it's a 2,000 krona buy-in, and then there's you also pay 300. So you pay 2,300 total. 300's for like food and dinner and stuff like that, and the 2,000's for the tournaments. And I came back with 2,100. So technically,
you almost covered your whole price of. Well, you
yes,
covered
but
your price of entry,
technically,
but you paid more for the food.
yeah. So I technically made a profit.
How was the food? Was it
having-
worth it?
Oh yeah, it's just a steak, and it was like it's really just a grilled steak and flulkartoffel. How do you say that in English?
Like
Potatoes with cream. With
yeah. What's the technical term for those really good ones though? Au gratin potatoes.
maybe I don't know.
Yeah, the kind of potatoes you slice into layers and you put them in the oven with like cream.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Does it happen to you as well? Sometimes I think of words or ways to say things, and I think of them in Danish before English or even Portuguese.
It's been happening to me more lately, especially if I try to think of how to say something in Spanish. I always think about the Danish way to say it. I guess because, I mean, I took Spanish for like 6 years, but I never really practiced it and spoke it a lot. But I can read it really well when I go there. And I don't feel like completely out of place. I can understand it as well a little bit.
They're from Texas.
But when I think of, now that I've been basically speaking, I speak English my whole life. And now that I've been speaking and listening and taking more Danish, anytime I actually try to think of how to say something in Spanish for whatever reason, I always just kind of like instinctually just fall back to the Danish version because I'm like, oh, well, I've got 2 languages, my native one and some other one I'm learning,
Mm-hmm.
It's like I've almost forgot the second intermediary language that I used to know. We were watching some movie with Danish audio and Danish, well, we started with subtitles, we just turned them off because they were wrong. But it's like, it's called Monkey Up. It's some like goofy ass movie with like the lead character is like a little chimpanzee or a little monkey.
But it's a Danish movie.
I don't know if it's Danish.
It was subbed in. Maybe subbed in Danish.
The audio was definitely in Danish, but it's made by that company that made Air Bud, which is a dumb movie about a dog that can like slam dunk and play basketball.
I don't know.
Anyways, apparently that movie was successful enough to launch a whole movie like production company out of. So then they made some other like monkey movie where he's like an actor, and boy, it was so funny to watch that shit in Danish. Like I could understand like 80-90%. Like I basically got the whole movie. Like I felt for the first time I was like, wow, like I understand everything here.
But is it a kids movie? Or?
Yeah, it's like a kids movie or something.
I did one of those Facebook tests.
Oh god,
but a few months ago.
You're fired.
It's not a Facebook test. It was a test that people shared on Facebook, but it wasn't a Facebook test. But just about the vocabulary.
Okay.
So you could test your vocabulary in a bunch of different languages. So I did it in Danish first, and apparently a few months ago I had the vocabulary of a 8 or 9-year-old Danish kid.
Sounds about right for me.
I don't think it was too bad.
No. Kids are smart nowadays.
yeah, yeah, that's a way of that's a good way of phrasing yourself, I'd say. For kids are so smart. Anyway, with the Spanish and Danish thing, I completely understand because I have the same problem with French and Danish. So if I try to speak French or just if I try to formulate a sentence in French,
Yeah.
I notice that I default to Danish words in there because I guess there are two languages that I mean I'm fluent in Danish, but
You don't use it as commonly as like you
yeah,
would
and
English.
still at some point at least French and Danish were two languages that I didn't know very well,
Yeah.
both of them. So whenever I tried to speak French, I would start putting Danish words in it because I guess part of my brain just mixed them up a little bit.
Or it seemed more natural.
The
or-
other way around doesn't happen though. Like if I try to speak or formulate a sentence in Danish, I don't. There's no French whatsoever. It's only in the other direction.
Yeah, and same for me. I mean, it's like I never think about something like what's the Danish word for that and think of a Spanish word.
Yeah.
No. It's just like whatever the least used language, like that one I struggle to find something except out of the second most used language in my
Mhm.
own brain. That's what I notice, but I don't know, maybe there's some like linguists or something that have studied that.
Well, but there's clearly a difference because I don't confuse anything in Portuguese, or
No.
in English
No.
for that. So,
But
and
those
English is my second
But those
language.
are like so well ingrained.
Yeah.
Maybe it's that like your level of Danish is like maybe enough to be considered fluent, but it's not really so natural and comfortable that you're like
No, because I
100%
don't,
comfortable with
I
it.
don't practice it every day because I'm lazy.
Yeah.
Well, I practice listening every day.
Lazy foreigners coming in here taking all our jobs, not even learning the language.
Yeah, we're living the language too. I mean, I learned the language. You can't
I
really
know.
blame
I'm
me.
just giving you a hard time. I got my module 4 test coming up 2 weeks. I'm going to take it's to finish module 3 and go on to module 4, but then I'll just have module 4 and 5 left.
Nice. I wanted to to finally do because I finished all the modules,
But you never
but
took the
I never
test.
took the final test.
What a chump.
There's a story behind it, but
I
it's not
know.
really that interesting
I
story.
know.
But I just decided recently to actually take the Poe d'Inscrit.
Yep.
That's the name, right?
That's the one I need to take.
Yeah, take that test. And so I opened the tab on my computer, and I was like, "Oh, okay, I'll just enroll
Yeah.
soon, and any day now,
You can only take it twice a year.
Yeah, and when I actually decided, I went to work on a Monday,
Uh-huh.
and I was like, okay, today I'm just gonna register. And
Today's
guess
the
what?
day.
The deadline was the Sunday before,
What a
so now I
chump.
have to wait 6 months around that until the summer, I think.
You gotta practice.
Actually, I was looking at the tests online because
Yeah.
there's
Yeah, there's some
examples,
practice
previous
tests.
tests.
Yeah. Mhm.
They all seemed so easy.
Okay.
I mean, I've been here for almost 10 years for it,
Fair
it
enough.
would be, and I learned the language as soon as I got here.
Yeah.
So,
But they do some oral tests as
Mhm.
well. I think that's actually can be the harder part for some people.
I'm sure some people will have a harder time with
Some
it.
of the
but
written is annoying too because they really try to trick you with certain sentences. It's like
Yeah,
here's
with
like
the blanks.
yeah,
Is that it?
here's 9 sentences. There's only 6 you should use, and you need to fill in the right one. And on a lot of those, they really like the sentences. Like in some of those situations, you're like, like 2 or 3 of these could be used here,
Yeah.
and kind of makes sense. But then there will be like some very small details, like oh, they refer to this as like D instead of den, or and
Mhm.
they're like oh, the sentence before then that wouldn't make sense, or yeah, it'll be one of those ones where you have like a for D or bay after, and then like maybe inversion won't be right there, or like yeah, some minor detail that's like, oh, I got you.
I mean, I understand making, let's say, tricky things like that in
Mhm.
order to test the small details, so whether people know.
Yeah,
But I can't help but feel that
intentional.
yeah, that in a way it's just
Yeah.
oh, let me try to
Yeah, let's try to make
pull the
this.
rug under their feet.
Yeah, let's
Just
try to make this as hard as possible for foreigners to pass this.
yeah.
It does feel like that in some ways, but
The I when I was looking at the oral tests, it was just the ones I saw was just basically describing a picture,
They've got a
which
few. I've taken a few.
seemed. Oh, you've taken them.
Yeah, because in module 1 and 2, they'll show you a picture and they'll ask you to talk a little bit about it
Hmm.
for 1 minute or 2 minutes. And then the proctor will then ask you questions about the picture for the next 4 minutes, and you have a bit of a dialogue back and forth. As far as I know, on module 3, they show you a picture, but you're not allowed to talk about anything in the picture. The picture is more used as a reference to give you an idea of a topic to talk about, but
Mm.
not actually things in the picture.
Okay.
So, like, it might be a picture of somebody doing like volunteer work, and then you're expected to talk, like, for instance, on like frivillig arbeider, which is like one of the topics we have to talk about for
Yeah.
this upcoming test. I think I'm talking about like the workplace, job search, and like volunteer work or something is my 3 oral topics, and then they give it like they randomize it, and so you pick one of those, and you need to talk about that for some minutes, and then they ask you questions about it for some minutes, and then yeah, I think there's also like a picture thing that supposed to prompt you to talk about something, but not about the picture. And I think
Yeah.
that's about it for the oral test, as far as I recall, it's been, and then also we've been practicing leading up to this one. But yeah, we'll see.
I was just surprised at how easy the test looked. But again,
You've been here 10
yeah,
years,
I
and you
it's
took the
it.
language already.
I'm sure that if I was trying to make the test, I know it. If I was trying to make the test as soon as I finished module 5, I wouldn't have thought
It would have been harder.
it. Oh, definitely,
Yeah.
certainly much harder. I mean, even if I don't actively try to learn the language
Y-
after I've completed the all the school.
It just happens passively.
Yeah, of course. I mean, you hear words, you hear them over and over in specific contexts. You start to learn. I mean, there's a lot of Danish sentences or words used in certain sentences and contexts that I know how to use them, but I don't really know necessarily why. It's just it sounds.
Yeah.
This is the way it sounds
There's also some
good.
things like that that you hear on day-to-day normal conversation in the street that you didn't really learn in class. You know what I mean?
Like what, cursing?
Well, not not just that, but more, for instance, yeah, like those kind of slang type terms, or like slang type stuff
Yeah,
that's not really grammatically correct, but people use them anyway,
yeah,
and it's
sure.
just kind of like understood or whatever. But
Yeah, and I guess if we listen to more Danish hip hop, we probably would get some.
what I was gonna well, I had another point too,
Yeah,
which is
go on
that
for it.
I agree with you that if you took the test right after you finished module 5, it would have been more difficult. I feel like I had a big advantage. I didn't start even taking module 1. I didn't even start Danish until like 2 years, or I don't know, a year and a half after I'd already been here.
Hmm.
And I felt like I had a huge leg up on everybody in the class, because even though I didn't know a lot of the grammatical rules, I did know a lot of the words and the way they sounded.
Yeah.
And so like I already had like some of the pronunciation, not perfect by any means, but I had more of an idea how to say things than, for instance, everybody there who started fresh.
Hmm.
They were just like, "Wait, how do I make that sound with my mouth?"
That makes
And
perfect. Oh,
and I
sorry.
was like, "Well, I've at least tried." It's
Hmm.
like you try to make the proper sound.
There's also something on the in when I was taking classes that was a bit. It just felt a bit off place, which is you would have, let's say, there's a new class, and you would have a Korean girl there as well as a Swedish girl, or a Finnish girl. Then they also a lot of them also speak
Yeah,
Swedish,
yeah.
and I mean it was very clear that
There's a
they
difference.
yeah that they shouldn't have been in the same class because one of them just picked up
But that usually
everything.
gets sorted out by module 2 or 3, because they have the DU3, which is the most advanced one, like the fastest paced one, and that's for people who already have some education and already know English, are fluent in English, and have at least learned one other language. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So that's like maybe that Korean girl. I mean, did she know English?
Well, yeah, but
So I mean, she was at least the technical requirements were that she was in the right class. If she already knew English and was like somewhat educated, they start you out on DU3, or they try to get you on that, which is the faster plan. And then if you start having problems or you can't keep up with that, then they will basically downgrade you to DU2, which is a slightly slower one. but I think it's still for people who know English but maybe haven't learned another language or having trouble. And then like DU1, which is the slowest paced one, is for people who don't even know English as an
Mm.
intermediary. So then they have to kind of learn. I mean, I guess almost just from they have to bootstrap themselves into knowing some basic Danish so that they can learn more Danish.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Without
Yeah.
having another language to really fall back on from the teachers.
Is this the way it is now? Because I'm pretty
That,
sure
that that's how it is now. At
I'm.
least when I signed up and when
Yeah.
I talked with them about all the different available classes and stuff. I mean, that's how it was explained to me. I mean, yeah, I mean, I guess it could be different at some different Danish schools, but I
I.
think it's pretty much the same between them all.
Which school are you on?
EA Sprol.
Okay. Yeah.
There's
Well,
also
I
what's the other
wasn't.
one?
I
Studieskolen.
was in Studieskolen back in the day. Yeah.
Yeah,
But I never heard of that. I don't know if that's a new, and by new I mean at least like
couple
8 years.
years.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I
Not
wasn't able to get into Studieskolen because my English wasn't good enough.
your English. I don't believe that.
That's serious.
I don't believe that.
Neither was my girlfriend.
But it's not because of your
Yeah, that's what they
English.
said. Well, I guess it's slightly facetious, right? They do a test where they're like, okay, describe, okay, what's the adjective, what's the adverb in this sentence, what's like the conjunction, what are these different like
Okay.
terms?
Yeah.
And I mean, the thing is, I know how to speak English. I don't think to myself, like when a sentence sounds wrong and
Yeah,
I'm
I
like,
know.
hey, you
I know.
said that wrong. I don't think to myself, looks like the conjunction you used didn't come before like,
Hmm.
and I'm not thinking, okay, here's the adverb, here's like the conditional, whatever, like the term for every fucking word. I don't remember it.
Yeah.
So when they're like, okay, identify the adverbs and the conjunctions and all this stuff in here, like verbs and nouns and conjunctions, okay, that's pretty easy. But is this like an adverb here, or is it like what form is this in the preterite or in the? It starts to get a little bit like complicated if you've never really thought since maybe grade school about what like
The grammar.
the
Yeah.
past perfect or the present participle form of like you don't fucking know. You just know that that's how you say it.
Yeah.
So that's why they were like, oh, yeah, well, you can't learn it because you don't know all these forms of the different words.
So how
Actually,
many people passed that?
I don't know. I didn't go to test. To be fair, I didn't go to test for study school. And once they told her that she couldn't get in because her English wasn't good enough,
Yeah.
I was like, all right, I guess I'm just going to try this other school. It's like, I don't want to have to go through a college level deal just to learn a language. But
That is so funny.
one of our good friends, that works with us. He's recently enrolled in Studieskolen.
Hmm.
But I mean, he already knows two languages as it is. His English is perfect and German as well. So,
Yeah, and he probably knows the grammar a bit better, huh?
well, especially I think all the people that come from either like German speaking or already in the Scandics. I mean, they have such an easy time
Hmm.
with the sounds and the grammar. I don't know.
Yeah, and they know what the past participle or whatever it
Yeah, they
is.
probably do
I
because they actually paid more attention to it because that's also the thing. As an American, you're like typical American, doesn't know any other language. Although to be fair,
you knew Spanish.
I did, yeah. But it had been so long that I didn't think about like the grammatics of it anymore either. Like I don't
Hmm.
just constantly think. I'm not like an English major or like you know what I mean? Like that's not what I think about is which word is the past participle form of
Yeah.
this verb. I don't fucking know, man.
Yo quiero un flask van, please. That's three languages right there.
Yeah, that's pretty good. All right. Enough about languages, Dolph. Should we
Okay,
talk about
so what are we moving
something?
on to? Tell me,
Well,
Ford, what do you have saved
saved up
in your?
or did I release already?
Oh,
It's kind of a little
what?
something smelling maybe a little
All
bit
right,
around here.
I know what you're trying to get at.
What's that smell, Dolph?
I don't know. I don't smell anything, but we do have. It's such a terrible.
This article is so good, man. Well, actually, the writing in this article is not that great, but the topic
It's
that
just a
it's on.
topic. Actually, yeah, it's a concept I had never heard of. Go on, Ford. Please enlighten our listeners.
Just listen to this topic here and tell me if you can draw anything from this. Drawing by farting. Phantom raspberry blower of old Copenhagen town is uncovered. What does a raspberry blower
Wait.
have?
The most interesting thing about this is that this is this is originally written in English. This is not like some Google translation or anything like that.
Well, I mean, it's on Copenhagen Post, which is an English news site. That's not to say that maybe sometimes they don't just rip a Danish one and translate it and put it up here in a shitty form of English. I don't know.
That would be
I mean, this is
that
written
would
by
be
Ben Hamilton, you know?
Yeah, I don't think someone called Ben Hamilton is going to do something like that. I'm sure this comes out of Ben's creative mind.
Yeah. Except, actually, I can tell you that I'm pretty sure it was translated from Danish because if you look down here and you look at this comma and then you have this here, it's a little bit strange. I mean, you can do this in English, but this really feels more like a direct translation.
Yeah, you're going to need to read that if you want
Okay,
people
well, yeah,
to know
I'll
what
say.
you're talking about.
Okay, well, let's just go in on the article. Hundreds of artworks at the National Gallery of Denmark and the Black Diamond have been damaged by flatulism. Good old fashioned farts, Dolph.
Flatulism sounds like a disease.
Flatulism?
Yeah, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's kind of like botulism.
It sounds like a disease name to me. Go on.
Visitors to Denmark often laugh at signs warning motorists that they are about to enter a fart control zone, which means speed control. But maybe they should start putting them up in the National Gallery of Denmark and the Black Diamond Library, reports Politiken. That whole Black Diamond Library, comma, reports Politiken.
Mhm.
That's not a very like. I think technically you can do it. It's just a strange way, but you would say something like this in Danish.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's what I'm saying. I do think that this was originally because what is this? This doesn't make sense. This headline: drawing by farting: phantom raspberry blower of old Copenhagen town is uncovered. It doesn't make any sense.
Wait. Before that, I have to say that I was very amused at
The colon.
Yeah, farting followed by colon.
Uh,
That was it was unexpected. But read it again. Sorry, go scroll up a little bit. Phantom raspberry blower of old Copenhagen town is uncovered. So, do you think there's some kind of legend?
I think this. Well, I think there's some sort of slang, like a raspberry blower. Like, couldn't that be like your butthole or something?
Yeah, but when we say
Phantom
blower of old town, that almost sounds like a legend. You know that there's a legend that in all these years the art pieces have been modified with time, and people created this legend that there was some kind of ghost, so phantom.
Boy, you're really grasping at straws now.
I'm just trying to create my own interpretation of the title for it. Go on, read it.
All right. Well, God, I'm not going to read this whole thing because it's written so poorly. But apparently, visitors to the States Museum of Art and the Black Diamond, whose collective hydrogen sulfide emissions containing sulfur, the ingredient that makes a fart stink, have considerably darkened lead white pigment on numerous graphic works held by the establishment. In some cases, it can take only a decade to alter a piece of art forever.
How many farts do you think it takes a day for a decade? Because so is it open during Sundays? Let's do some math here.
It's kind of like that question, like how many licks does it take to get to the center of a Tootsie Roll Pop? You know, do you remember those?
No, I
with the
don't.
L?
But I guess it's somewhat similar. Yeah, I'm just trying to do the math and figure out how many farts.
So the researchers at the States Museum detected changes to 433 Danish and foreign works kept in storage, while the Black Diamond discovered damage to 200 in its care. Apparently, it can only take a decade to alter a piece of art forever. How many people do you think go to these every, let's say, week or day?
I have
a few
no
thousand,
idea.
a few thousand a day walk through there?
Yeah, or less.
Okay, and do you think what, like 30% of those people fart while they're in there?
I don't know. Do you fart 30% of the time?
Well, I don't know. It depends on what I've been eating, I guess, and how I'm feeling.
Yeah,
Some
I
days
don't
are
know.
a little more farty than others, aren't they?
I don't know. There's a chance, I guess.
How many times do you fart in a day, Dolph?
I don't know. Should I keep track
Next
week until the next podcast?
Like 2, 20, 50, 100? How many? Like a range?
No, I don't think it's 100. No,
I think I fart like 10, 20 times a day.
2?
Two?
No. You said 2. I'm trying to go through the numbers you said. You said 2,
10, 20, 30?
20.
Something like 20? I think I fart 20 times a day easy.
I mean, I'm sure I've certainly gone through 20 plus but I would be
Yeah, but
I'd
some
be
days
hard
it's
pressed
10.
to say that it
Okay, so
was.
let's assume like maybe either half a fart to one fart every hour. Do you think that's reasonable?
Does it count if you go to the bathroom and you're ready to take a shit and then you?
I don't think that the act of farting while
No,
you're
it
on
needs
the
to be when you're
shitter.
in public.
Yeah, no, not even when you're in public. Just when you're not on the toilet. Just like
Well, you're in public when, yeah. When I say in public, I don't necessarily mean around with people around.
just not in the toilet.
Yeah.
Because I could fart in here like by myself, even when you're not over here, and that still counts.
Hmm. I don't know for it. It's a good question.
Let's say half a fart per hour. Okay, half a fart per hour.
So it's 12
Let's
parts
say
a day.
3,000 people visit this every day, which is a total. The 3,000 is a total made up number. But let's say a few thousand go every day,
Yeah.
and they have half a fart an hour. And let's say an average person stays in the museum for what, an hour?
2 hours?
2 hours? 2 hours. So they average, let's say 3,000 people. If they stay there 2 hours at half a fart per hour, that's 3,000 farts in one day. So if it only takes a decade to alter a piece of art forever, then that means at 3,000 farts a day times, should we call it 6 days a week? Because it's probably not 7 days a week. Probably one of the days they're closed for like maintenance, like Sunday or Saturday or something. So 6 days a week times 3, that's 18,000 farts times 52 weeks.
I'm so lost.
Hold on.
I am so lost.
Well,
here.
you asked here.
Yeah,
Hold on.
I regret it. I regret
18,000
it
farts.
so much.
So that's 936,000 farts per year, and it takes 10 years to alter it. So that's, let's say, 9.36 million farts to alter a piece of art forever. Taking a deep breath over there.
So,
I mean, do you know how they found this?
But this is there's something with the air conditioning.
Yeah, a
in this, right?
30-month investigation by experts hired by the institutions who installed various hydrogen sulfide measuring devices concluded that while the storage facilities may have been partially responsible, the main culprit was an old air conditioning system that sucked up and then emitted the unfiltered air from the exhibition halls. So in other words, they had a system that pulled the air out of the main halls where people were farting 9.36 million times over a decade, and it sucked that air down into the storage where they had the artwork unfiltered.
Yeah,
like Unfiltered
like
Copenhagen.
our podcast.
Unfiltered Flatulism. We could start like a second podcast. Just make fart jokes the whole time. When we quote, when we have a popular expedition, a lot of people attend, and everything they exhale, the technical term is bioeffluence, ends up in the basement, explains Niels Boring, an art conservation expert from SMK. When there are that many people, we're talking about a lot of gas.
But there's still something with it. So
the establishments
air conditioning.
Yeah, the establishments are updating their air conditioning systems.
So this didn't damage the artworks that were in exhibition. It's only the ones that were in the basement. In storage.
I mean, according to the article, that's kind of what it feels like to me. But it's worse to damage the ones in storage than the ones on display, because usually you only have a few on display and you have many more in storage. Mm-hmm. And I think hydrogen sulfide heavier than oxygen? Does it like sink down and form like a layer?
I don't know.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, you can store them in the ceiling. If that's the case, I don't know for it. I'm not a chemist.
So they need a filtration system or a blower that exhausts all that exhibition hall air outside and not into storage.
So my question still remains: if there was no air conditioning, if there's nothing, like there's just the rooms with the artwork, would they still be damaged by the farts? Like, does the air conditioning have anything to do with this?
Yeah, I mean, why would they put it in here? They said the main culprit was the old air conditioning system that sucked up the farts and then put them in the fucking storage.
Yeah, but it's not like it's choosing the farts. Like, I'll take this smell and I'll bring it into the room.
Yeah,
it just takes everything.
That's because they didn't think about how those farts were going to affect it. It was just, there was no planning with that. They needed filtration on that thing, or they needed to redirect the air a different way.
Okay, so if there was just let's say if I have a room with a few art pieces at home, and every time I want to fart, I go in that room and I do it
right in front of the artwork.
I'm not saying I would necessarily aim for it. No. Just there in the vicinity.
You're gonna need 9.36 million farts to forever alter. And I think it needs to be lead paint, and it needs to be the white. It's the white paint.
Hmm.
I looked at. Remember just a minute ago, I looked
Oh
up some
yeah,
research
yeah.
papers about this, but the sulfide mixes with the lead pigment in some way and creates a lead sulfide, which is the actual problem.
Yeah.
It's a only a problem with the white pigment of lead based paint.
So that would happen as well if we boiled eggs, I suppose.
But yeah, for presumably. I'm just imagining at like a really fancy art gallery, you know, with a bunch of well-to-do folks with like a monocle and a top hat, and I say, good sir, this piece of art is delightful. That they had like a little, like a sniffer dog, you know, that would just like a little dog that ran around like smelling people's
Yeah.
butts and seeing if they farted, and then if he alerts on that person, you know, like security comes with the hook and drags you out of there.
Yeah,
You know?
just train a dog
Yeah.
to smell farts and
Excuse me, sir. There's no farting permitted in the gallery.
well, but once it's done, it's done.
Well,
Are you gonna ban that person or what?
yeah. You gotta go outside to the smoking area to fart.
um, I I'm at the loss of words for this.
I mean, the thing
I
is,
love it,
it makes
but
sense. I mean, chemistry-wise, I mean, it makes sense. I just can't believe that they would be so like, how can you not prepare for this? I mean, surely people have been storing art. I mean, think about it. All these art galleries been around for hundreds of years, too. I mean, maybe not the Black Diamond. I guess it's fairly recent because they recently
mhm,
built it, but, like, the States Museum, I mean, surely it's been around for some time.
yeah.
And I mean, you can look historically at other art galleries in the world. I mean, I'm sure there's some consortium of like um, art historian conservators that meet up and say, well, today's conference is on the effect of flatulism on artwork. And the, you know what I mean? Like they should have thought about this.
So on a bit of a more, I don't know if it's philosophical or just artistic perspective, shouldn't the change in artwork be considered part of the artwork itself? You know what I mean? Like if you have a
I get what you're saying.
if you
Does it
buy
increase
a
the
guitar,
value?
if you buy an acoustic guitar, the wood will change with time.
Hmm.
And that's one of the reasons why old guitars, old acoustic guitars, are considered more like better or more sought after because they have aged hopefully gracefully, so they're not all
Right,
banged up.
but that's the key is gracefully, right? Because you can keep an old guitar in a wet, moldy basement and have it grow mold and start to warp and get shitty,
Hmm.
or you can keep it in like a humidor-like environment where yes, it ages, but in the right environment. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't get damaged by the environment. And I would argue that the farts is more of a damaging thing, not really like a aging gracefully thing. Otherwise, they would just have big facilities where they put artwork and rotting eggs in a place and just start to, you know, alter the artwork forever, I guess. I mean, this wouldn't be a problem if it was actually good for the art.
Well, good. Yeah, I guess it just changes the original
Yeah.
vision of the painter, unless they actually planned for the whites to slowly turn into what color is it? Yellowish? I don't know.
I would assume yellow brownish or, you know, start to get a darker tint to it. I don't know.
I don't think I have anything valuable to say more about this. For I have a lot more to say, but I'm not sure if any of it's going
I
to be
like this
valuable.
other part of the article. Not just darkening underpants. The famous 19th century French flatulist Joseph,
Freud French flatulence.
yeah, the 19th century French flatulist Joseph Le Pétomane. I don't know, maybe you need a better French accent for that. Thanks to his ability to inhale air and water through his rectum, could perform all manner of fart noises, from crowing roosters to a cannon fire to a stirring rendition of La Marseillaise. Corseted women at the time were known to pass out that they laughed so hard.
Wow.
That
Yeah,
guy was living the dream.
I need to check that guy out after this. Don't close
Yeah.
the tab.
All right. Yeah, we'll make sure to check out some
But
of his work.
that's like there was this video a few months ago with the
Oh,
fart in B flat or
oh
whatever
yeah,
the
yeah,
fuck
yeah.
it
The
was.
guy had this like the fart that hit all. It was like
An arpeggio. It was an arpeggio.
It was an arpeggio, but it was like a perfect seventh chord arpeggio with like a tritone or something. You know, it was like he
Yeah.
analyzed the musical qualities of that fart. There you go, Dolph. Are we done?
I think we're done with it.
Smelling, sniffing around
I'm
this
done with
article.
this. This is a lovely headline.
One of the best articles in months. No doubt. There you go.
I think that says a lot about our show when you consider that
Hey,
one of the best
it's nothing about
articles.
our show. It's a little bit about Copenhagen being not boring, but I would say that since it's a small city, you tend to have less really noteworthy news. I mean, it's not like every week we get like a Las Vegas shooter over here that we can talk about that's like a really meaningful piece of news. Sometimes it's just like farts are turning artwork a little brown.
Yeah, you got you got a point there for it.
Uh, speaking of brown, what do we got here? A shitstorm?
Oh, shitstorm. Oh, that was a sweet transition. Yeah.
Tivoli in a major shitstorm over their Halloween ride. The orphanage ride sees a name change 2 days before opening. What do we got? 2 days before Tivoli opens for its annual Halloween season, the world famous amusement park found itself living a bit of a nightmare as one of its new rides is under heavy fire due to the name and concept. The Yimsukt Bjorna Yim,
Barnium, yeah.
the haunted orphanage ride, which is supposed to creep out guests as they meander down corridors hiding untold atrocities committed against orphans of yesteryear, has hit a little too close to home for some people, particularly those who themselves spent rough times in an orphanage. As a former orphanage kid, I honestly find it very tasteless and lacking empathy to make a ride based on abuse we suffered. One commenter, Peter Wild, wrote. And they have been quick to admit the name was perhaps not very well considered, and the park has changed it to just The Haunted.
But it's only the name.
Mhm.
So, from my understanding, the whole concept was the orphanage, right? Or the
Well-
haunted orphanage.
Well, yeah, it's supposed to creep out guests as they go down corridors hiding untold atrocities.
yeah, but they
committed
just
against
changed the
orphans.
name. So, if anyone has been in an orphanage and they get some kind of PTSD from going there,
Yeah.
they're gonna feel the same. They just, oh, it's a different name.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, this feels a little bit. I mean, I've never been in an orphanage,
Yeah.
and I also certainly don't encourage any kind of abuses against like foster kids and orphans
Disclaimer.
and this kind of stuff. But at the same time, I mean, this isn't like this ride is not called like the haunted concentration camp or like, you know what I mean, or like the haunted slave plantation, which I feel would be more offensive and inflammatory, you know? But then again, I mean, did it really need to be called an orphanage? I don't know. I feel like for something like Tivoli, who probably at least has a PR person, certainly they would have thought about this and been like, maybe we should just leave orphanage out.
I think it's stupid. Again, I haven't been in an orphanage either, you know? So maybe I'm just talking as one of those not like privileged.
Oh,
One
you're
of those
speaking
privilege, yeah, from a
position
position
of
of privilege. Yeah, possibly, probably.
You think it's just like
But,
SJWs that are triggered by this?
I don't know, but I think there is certainly a line of what's acceptable
Yeah.
to name and not.
That's what
And
I'm
I
getting
don't
at.
think, me personally, not having experienced the terrible atrocities that happen at orphanages,
That's kind of what I was getting at. With
I don't
the
think this
whole-
crosses the line.
I agree. I don't really think it super crosses the line. Is it the greatest idea to name it? Maybe not. But again, if they'd have named it like the Haunted Slave Plantation, okay, that crosses like a line where it's probably like, okay, dude, you really shouldn't call it that. Whereas this is kind of like, I mean, I wouldn't have even thought anything about it.
Me neither.
So,
and that's the thing. This is news that for me, in a way, it's not really. I mean, it's news because it shouldn't be. Does that make any sense? You know?
what do you mean?
Or like this doesn't make any sense to me.
It's news because there's nothing better to report on. Is that what you're getting at?
Maybe.
Seems like kind of a slow news week if they're posting this.
Well, to be fair, I'm interested in this,
Mm-hmm.
but
On a scale of 1 to 10.
no, I'm interested in this for the sole reason that I don't understand why the outrage. I mean, I understand it from a logical perspective, you know,
Mhm.
but at the same time, it's not different than them making a ride or what is this haunted house, but that it's the haunted kitchen, and then somebody who was, I don't know, who was a chef and they had some very unpleasant experiences in the kitchen, and they were abused by the head chef or stuff like that. And then they're like, I don't think this should. It's just stupid to me. Maybe I should have been in an orphanage to understand it.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's not valid. I'm just saying that, come on, when are you really?
Can't have nothing nice nowadays, Dolph. Everybody's offended over something.
Everybody wants to be feel a bit like a victim for something. That's what I
Harden the
feel.
fuck up.
Well, those are your words, not mine.
Stop whining.
I to be honest, I don't really want to blame the people.
I don't either. But sometimes though, when you read, not even just this article, but sometimes when you read these articles about people being really outraged about something, which really in the grand scheme of things does not seem like a big fucking deal, you just kind of mutter to yourself, Jesus Christ, just harden the fuck up a little bit. You know what I mean?
I think it's just somehow nowadays culture has become a lot more about
Being a victim. Jesus Christ.
Which is a very Portuguese thing, by the way.
Is it?
Yeah, I think so. I think in Portugal, maybe victim is too strong a word, but I think, yeah, it's like the reasons why Portugal. I haven't lived in Portugal in 10 years, so maybe things are a bit different now. But I always felt that the reason why we're not great anymore, like we once were back in the 1500s,
Yeah.
There's a lot of victimization.
Like,
So
poor me. Look at what happened. They took my money, or they did this
a
or
little
whatever.
bit. I don't feel it's like blaming this and that. It's maybe not blaming anyone in particular,
Yeah.
but it's maybe just a way of not assuming responsibility for not being as great as we once were.
I think that there's certainly instances where you should feel maybe like outraged or upset or somewhat victimized by something, right? But then also, I think, it is an easy way to kind of get out of any responsibility. Like, I could have really been successful in life or whatever, but no, it was this outside factor holding me down, or you know what I mean? Like, I was oppressed by people with privilege and all that. And don't get me wrong, there's certainly like oppression and shit that goes on, but at the same time, it also feels like sometimes it's like, come on, dude, you're just looking for attention, or you looking for a reason to fucking get a little bit of attention, or be like, oh, poor me. Hey, man. Pull yourself up by the bootstraps, What?
I don't know for it.
I don't have anything more on this.
I think regarding the orphanage thing.
I mean, I just followed it up with the fart story because this one said Tivoli and major shitstorm, so I thought it was like kind of a.
Oh, there was a connection there.
There was a chuckle there.
I failed to see it. I think it's interesting that they write shitstorm on an article.
You wouldn't
title.
see this in an American newspaper. No.
The word shit is not really, let's say, politically. It's not politically correct, but
it's a curse, but it's one of the milder curses. But still, if this was in an American paper, it would say like Tivoli and major snafu over Halloween, right? Or uproar, or you know what I mean? Something like that. Oh, well.
So this is a haunted house. Do you think there's a chance that there's some kind of, let's put on the tinfoil hat here. You think there's a chance that they did it on purpose just so people would write about it, maybe try to get more visitors?
Fuck no, man. Although I kind of want to check Tivoli out during Halloween. I never checked it out during Halloween, and I'd like to go check out like some spooky stuff. They kicked off this weekend, Friday the 13th.
Aha. I see what they did there. Talking about Friday the 13th, did you go to Kulturnacht?
No, I didn't because, we talked about it a little bit on the last week's podcast, how you said that over the years it's become so much more popular that the queues for everything are really high.
Yeah.
And honestly, I can't stand shit like that, where it's like something's really good, and for a while, it's kind of like relatively unknown or underground, so you can go to it and enjoy it without having to deal with a horde of retarded fucking people.
Distortion.
And then, at some point, it gains enough critical mass to where everyone's like, oh, have you been to such and such? It's so cool, man. And then like everybody and their fucking brother goes, and you get there, and it's like 700 people lined up to look at some shit that would have been fun to look at if you didn't just have to shuffle through there one at a time, just rushing past the thing.
Mm.
Our good friend said that, yeah, they went to, I think, the Freemasons deal like last year. And he
Yeah.
said he was in like a small room with like 30 people behind him pushing forward. And it's like you don't even really get a chance to look at anything because all you're doing is getting out of the way for the people behind you.
Hmm.
I hate shit like that, man.
I never like the guided ones too much because I mean, if I want to look at this thing for 3 minutes,
Yeah.
and if it's a guided tour, I might not be able to.
Yeah. You got
I
to
just like
keep up
taking
with
my
the guy.
time, and maybe some things I find boring and I don't want to look at them.
Yeah. So I
Um,
didn't go out. Did you?
no, no, no. I can't remember what I was doing Friday, but no, I didn't.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, it's what I said before. Yeah, it's just I've been already 4 or 5 years, and I've already seen most of the things that, or at least I've already been to most of the places that I guess I would want to go. And yeah, the lines and all that. Maybe they should just do it twice a year.
Uh,
Then people would. Well, I assume that
yeah, I
there are
don't know.
fewer people. The fuck do I know?
I
Maybe
don't
two
fucking
two
know.
days, maybe not twice, maybe 2 days instead of one. No, this is terrible idea. Don't listen to me. Just
What'll happen is it'll be cyclical. It's gotten popular enough where too many people go to the point where some people decide actively not to go. Like I didn't go because I was like, oh, it's too popular. So at one point, it's gonna go back down in the cycle to where
mhm.
like most people don't go anymore. And then that's when you get in. That's your time to strike.
There you go. Ford said it. What day is it today? Ford 15th?
October 15th,
15th of October
2017.
2017. We called it. We, not me. Ford called it.
Called it.
5 years from now, we'll see.
It's not going to be very popular then.
But yeah, it's kind of like distortion, huh? Like in a way, it feels that it's become a bit too big for.
Too big for its britches.
There you go. It's the expression of the week. Too big for his britches.
Mm-hmm.
What's that?
Britches or pants. So like you got too big for your pants.
There you go.
There you go.
Time to diet. So, are we gonna change articles now for it? Are we gonna talk about
our good friend?
well, it's not our friend.
No.
But we certainly spent. It's probably the person after Inge Stoiberg that we've spent most time talking about in the podcast.
I would say that this has been like a staple in our podcast for the past 4 or 5 episodes. Even though last time we kind of said, "Oh, the mystery's solved now," but the old Peter Madsen, the accused submarine slaughterer. So they found a saw that they believe is related to the case. So I guess that he maybe used to cut her up.
Well, somebody.
Well, okay. Anyways, they found a saw in the water in Koo Bay near where they found her torso. And this is after they already found her head and her arms or legs or whatever else that they found. And they are going to test his DNA in connection with a number of unsolved murder cases in Sweden. Apparently, the Swedish police have a number of unsolved cases involving dismembered female bodies, and they want to test his DNA in connection with those cases.
That's interesting.
It is.
Because right now I have no idea, and I would assume if I just heard that, I would not make the connection. So, like if I just knew about this, and at the same time I just heard that. In the past 10 years, there's been a few dismembered female bodies found in Sweden, whatever, something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd make the connection, like, oh, maybe it's him. But now
Now you're kind of curious.
Yeah, now I'm curious.
I mean, he's been looking at snuff of women getting their heads chopped off. He's potentially chopped off a head himself.
Because I have
some other.
I mean, if there is a way for this story to become even bigger,
is if he's like this is his like career.
Yeah, that would escalate it,
Mm-hmm.
It would put him a bit in a Jack the Ripper kind of thing. Yeah. Except we found, I'm just assuming things now. I'm just making my own storyline.
But yeah, I mean, that would be if everything that's kind of been unearthed comes to be true. You know what I mean? Like if all this stuff, to me, it's already basically added up. Like I'm convinced that he killed this poor girl.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I don't
but
have
if
much doubt
all these
about it.
other things also come to fruition, what a sick and twisted fuck. I mean, even if the other ones don't, I mean, he still is for sure. But the other thing I found interesting about this article is that it was talking about the European Union DNA cooperative. So from November 1st, that's in just like 2 weeks, Denmark and Sweden will connect their DNA databases, making it possible to search in both registries and compare DNA. And it's part of a larger EU cooperation that includes Germany, the Netherlands, and Finland.
Yeah.
Pretty soon, your DNA is going to be in a giant database.
If it isn't already.
That's
I mean,
true.
the US has my fingerprint.
And your iris scan, probably.
My iris scan. I wouldn't be surprised if somehow they also have, I don't know,
facial profile.
or a strand of hair. And I don't know.
Yeah.
So it is scary. But in a way, it's one of those things I shouldn't be reluctantly just how do you say, not agreeing, but you know, when you're like, oh, okay, that's just the way things are. How would you call that? It's not agreeing.
No, it's like getting God, I'm trying to think of it. The words on the tip of my tongue.
It doesn't matter.
Complacent.
Yeah, I don't want to get complacent, like, and just reluctantly be like,
shrug and say, yeah, well, that's just how it is.
That's just the way it is. But it really feels that's the way it is, and I'm not sure there's any way
to get around it.
Well,
I wonder how long it'll be effective, because I think with the new, like all the stuff they're doing with cloning. I mean, you remember it's been like more than a decade that they cloned that sheep, Dolly, yeah. And she was like healthy and lived, I think, a decent life. I don't know. She might still be alive for a while.
No, I think she died, but I think she lived
like
good
a decent
amount of
life.
years,
Yeah. So, but with the ability of somebody being able to just like pick up one of your hairs or like a little bacteria out of your mouth or something, it could theoretically just make a clone of you, like against your will.
Ooh.
You know what I mean? And on top of that, with all this CRISPR gene editing stuff, they could like make a variant of you that's either better or worse or different. Or they could maybe even just like clone your DNA evidence and plant your DNA at the scene if they have a database of what your DNA looks like.
Yeah, but that they already can do. They can already do, right?
But that's what I'm getting at. At some point, when is that technology going to be available to the public in the same form like you see all these genetic companies like 23andMe and whatever, where you analyze your DNA profile and all that? When is it going to become like to the point where the common person can perform like editing operations on DNA or like cloning of basic DNA stuff, to the point where a DNA database doesn't really make any sense anymore because it can't be really relied on to be an effective criminal investigation tool, because some other guy could have just planted your DNA at the scene.
Well, yeah, but
you know what I mean?
But people can already plant it without having all that technology.
Yeah, that's
I mean,
also true.
I can sweep
and
your
you can also fake
floor.
fingerprints and stuff.
Yeah, I can take, if I really wanted, I could probably find some of your hair somewhere. You know, and then that's DNA right there. I could probably shake your hand with some
special
glove or whatever, or even just bump into you and touch somewhere on your skin and
scratch me and get it under your fingernails.
Yeah, just stuff like that. So the planting is not. Yeah, I don't know. It's the whole. First, it's the first thing that comes to my mind is the privacy issues. You know, it's the okay. So now it's not even just the country that I live in that has my DNA,
it's like the entire European Union or maybe the whole Western world.
If the European Union has the US has it as well. That's certain.
And then what time does it become more Minority Report, like where they're like, oh, we've discovered that a certain type of gene is also more prevalent in serial killers who like to chop people's heads off. So we're going to prematurely go ahead and swoop up Peter Madsen.
I was thinking, I don't think it was not about this because I hadn't heard about this, but I was actually earlier this week, I read something that it really felt like the world going Minority Report is. Like, if I had to put the bet on it, I think there's more than a 50% chance that some shit in Minority Report is gonna become. Maybe it will be outlawed after or something like that. But that it is gonna happen.
Yeah, no doubt.
Like the whole 1984 thing, and in a way, maybe Brave New World. It feels already that some of that shit is here.
100%.
So I think Minority Report is just a matter of. When a
matter of time.
Actually, we have the technology
to do
and we believe that we can predict certain people's behaviors based on Yeah, maybe not even based on thoughts, but yeah, I mean,
We didn't even talk about this a lot last time, but one of the things I found that was really impressive about this discovery of her head and the other, and I guess the saw and stuff like that, is those Swedish like carcass or cadaver dogs that they used. I found out from a friend of ours. I guess there were some other articles about it too, but they took these dogs on like the rubber dirigible boats, and the dogs actually sniffed for the carcasses above the water, and they were able to detect the areas that the body that the parts would be in, like nearly 20 meters deep in the water.
yeah, that's quite impressive.
It is really fucking impressive.
Unless water conducts smell very well, I'm not sure
Well, I
actually.
think it does. I think not to a human,
No, no, but dogs they
for
can smell.
instance,
Dogs can smell shit.
sharks. I mean, their receptors actually smell blood in the water by basically like tasting it.
Hmm.
So, like if you're bleeding in the water, a shark a mile away doesn't necessarily smell you from that distance, but little pieces of your blood start to become mixed and dispersed and diluted in the
Hmm.
water. And then once that water gets that far away, they can pick up, like, for instance, like 1 in 1 billion parts of blood in the
Yeah,
water. You know, that's how they smell you, is they actually really do ingest a piece of blood. But I guess the rotting flesh gives off a certain scent profile, and in the water, I guess they're able to even smell small hints of that, those cadaver dogs, even at the surface of the water.
yeah.
So it was just impressive to me because I was like, damn, like how did they find? You know,
Hmm.
I mean, I kind of felt like, well, shit, they're never gonna find the rest of the body parts.
Dog smell is actually really impressive.
Oh yeah,
That
no doubt about
there's
it.
there's some videos on YouTube. I don't know if it was some kind of those videos just explaining cool things
Yeah, the
about
sensors and so like how it
science. Yeah,
works.
it's it's insane the amount, the different, like our noses compared
It's
to
like
dogs.
worthless. Yeah,
It's nothing.
it's like a blind
It's
person or
really
something
nothing.
versus like a perfect seeing animal.
Like dogs can smell us from, like, I don't know. It was crazy. I don't know if it was a kilometer away or a mile away or stuff like that. It's insane.
What really impressed me though, or I guess what I never thought about, was the fact that this, like, I think of a dog having a great sense of smell and being able to track a body on land or like track somebody on land. I never thought like you would take this dog out on the ocean on a boat and it would be able to smell where something was under the water.
Yeah.
I guess that was the part that for me was like, wow, I didn't even know that was possible. But now I know. Need to bury it deeper than 20 meters.
Well, they have shitty vision.
Yeah, that's true.
Can't have it all. Eagles have good vision. Do you think eagles can smell
I don't know.
well?
They got those big holes in their beak. I don't know if that's for smell or what.
They can see
Oh
like
yeah, their vision is
eagles,
crazy
hawks, and
good.
stuff like that.
From like a kilometer up, they can like pick out your license plate. Enhance. Zoom in. Enhance.
Soon enough will be like that as well. For give us like 30 years with
Some virtual
CRISPR,
reality
with
attachments.
like the Black Mirror episode. No, I'm not going to spoil it. Don't worry. The Black Mirror episode where you just, I mean, you can just
Well,
implant shit on you.
there
You
was
know?
recently the new there was another Oculus, you know, the Oculus Rift and the
Hmm.
virtual reality guys that I guess they got bought out by Facebook or something. But John Carmack is there.
Hmm.
And there he gave a talk at Oculus Connect 4, I guess like earlier this week or yeah, within this past week. And it's about 2 hours long, and I watched the whole thing. And I don't know if you've ever seen any like talks by John Carmack, but he's like a brilliant programmer, really
Oh, I
good
know who he
technical
is.
guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. I mean, he made Doom and Quake and Wolfenstein and all
And
that.
Commander Keen.
Yeah. But it was really cool. I mean, they're coming out with some new higher end spec virtual reality stuff. And then they're also coming out with the Oculus Go, which is a completely standalone VR headset that doesn't require a phone or a computer. And it's like $200.
But how do you?
It's like a helmet. Well,
Okay.
I think it has Wi-Fi and Bluetooth connectivity.
No, okay, but it's something you wear.
Yeah, you put it on your head.
Hmm.
Yeah. And it has a LCD screens instead of OLED, and it has like Fresnel lenses or whatever. So it's like a lower end VR. It can only do like 3-axis or like 3 planes of motion detection instead of like 6 where you have on some of them. But he was pointing out that like a lot of the current uses for VR don't really require all those other planes of motion tracking, and that most people, even though initially you think that okay, I want to be able to look around in 360 and all that stuff, the reality is that most people enjoy VR in like the front 180 degrees. Like they'd rather sit down on a couch and be able to turn their head and look at kind of what's in front of and to the sides of them.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, shit, if you like technology at all, or if you're interested in kind of where that's going, like VR, I mean, imagine that in probably 5, 10 years, you will be fully capable of no longer having a monitor on your computer at all. You
Just
just
have a
sit down at
helmet.
your desk and put a helmet on, or maybe not even at your desk anymore. Just walk around with a helmet on. Some like augmented reality plus
Mm-hmm.
like checking your email in virtual reality.
It's crazy. I saw this video of a guy with his kid. I don't know how old the kid was, but it was, I don't know, less than 5, 6 years old. I don't know. Let's say it was 3, 4 years old, something around that age, probably. And the kid had one of those VR sets, so just covering his eyes, right,
Yeah.
or her eyes. But let's just say it's a male kid. I don't know. And the father was saying something like, "We're gonna look at VR." What was the exact quote? It was something about smartphones. Like, we're gonna look at VR in the future the same way we look at smartphones now, or uh,
Of course.
and anyway, the quote was not necessarily the what I was going after. The thing is, it was like a 1 minute video, and the kid has that shit on, and then
Yeah.
he takes it off at some point. Like, oh, I'm in reality, you know. And then the father says something to him. So, okay, are you back here? And then you just see the kid putting them on again. You know, like, oh, I want to go back to the other world because it's
Better.
more fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
And maybe I read too much into it, you know.
Yeah.
But ooh, that shit creeped me out so much. Can you imagine someone growing up since
In
their whole
VR.
life, everything that they remember, it's in VR, you know, and it's already so easy for someone. And I see this in myself. It's so easy for me to spend a whole day not leaving the apartment, just spending the whole fucking day in front of the computer,
On the
or
internet.
almost. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, this is not different than that, except that if you're on a computer, at least you're aware
That reality is
of
around
that.
you.
Yeah, that reality is around you. If you have a VR set on, I mean, I assume it's easy for you to forget the about time. You
Yeah.
know, like I've never tried one, and I certainly have. I have no idea how it
Yeah,
is
but
to try it for a long
it's
time.
harder to get general consensus concepts about, okay, how much time have I been in this thing?
Yeah.
What's going on around me? Is somebody sneaking up on me? Because like people were talking about that. Imagine in an office environment if everybody just has a VR headset on and then somebody walks up to your desk. Like they were talking about putting either some sort of ambient sensors or motion detection
Hmm.
where you can be like, okay, there's something around you you're either going to run into or there's somebody coming approaching you.
Yeah.
Because imagine like you're walking around in the street with some VR headset on and you just get like mugged. You know, you just have no concept of what's going on around you.
It's crazy. I
But
mean,
I mean, it's no different than like think about the smartphones and the tablets situation. I mean, one of my friends in the US, his kid grew up, I mean, comfortable as hell with like a tablet, like whipping around on a tablet at like 4 or 5 years old,
yeah.
you know? And then when he was 7 or 8, my buddy started getting him into Linux. He was
Hmm.
like teaching him how to work in a shell and like using Linux at like age 7, 8, 9, 10,
Yeah.
you know, running his own Minecraft server at 10 years old and stuff on a Unix operating system. And you can imagine that kid's going to be a far better, like, you know, system admin or Linux admin than his dad was or whatever. Like, you know,
Oh, probably.
it's
Yeah.
just so cool to like how the things that were revolutionary at one point just become commonplace and people just take them for granted. And like you imagine like some of these young kids, have you ever seen these videos where they're really good with a tablet and they're like 4 or 5 years old and they've been used to using tablets their whole life? And then they hand them a book and they try to like swipe the
No,
book as if it's
I haven't seen that.
it's crazy, man. It's so crazy.
But the tablets, for a friend of mine who has a kid
Yeah.
once told me that the kids like the tablets are so intuitive for kids.
Of
I don't know if
course.
it's true or not,
Of
but I
course. And
that every all that swiping and shit like
uh-huh.
that, it just comes completely natural
That's one
to
thing
kids.
you also have to give I think I mean I guess all the things with touchscreens, but I remember when like the iPhone first came out, I think you had to give a lot of credit to how Apple did their research about how the interface should work.
Hmm.
Because I remember when I first got an iPhone, I think before that I had like a BlackBerry, and then before that it was like Motorola phones with the actual buttons on it. But when I got the first iPhone, it's like I didn't even have to read a manual. There was things where like a long press, like you wouldn't even know how do I copy this or how do I do this on the phone, and then you would just try something and it would
Hmm.
work, and you'd be like, oh, okay, that fucking makes total sense. There was all these like intuitive things like pinching to zoom, and I mean, how do you even think about that? Like, you know what I mean? When you're the first one to bootstrap an interface and decide like how do you zoom and how do you copy and how do you go back and how do you go forward and all these different things, they really made it intuitive as hell
Hmm.
because you literally don't need a manual. And you can tell by the way that you can give like a 3 or 4 year old that thing and it's just intuitive as hell to them, scrolling around and zooming and doing things in there.
I mean, to be fair, it's also very limited what they can choose to, like the ways they can choose to allow to
I,
copy and
I guess,
whatever.
I guess, man, I was still always impressed by how well that
No, yeah,
all
the
that stuff worked.
usability, yeah, the usability of the iPhone.
Hmm.
I
Well,
mean,
I mean, and then later all the kind of devices, but I mean they really did a good job on that kind of stuff.
was it? There were already touch screens before that, right? Like on computers mostly, like on terminals.
Yeah, well,
Let's say ATMs or
there
stuff
was the
like
really
that.
low resolution pressure sensitive ATMs. You remember those ATMs where it was like it's so janky. Like you would press the screen and like it wouldn't register the press, or it would register like kind of 30 pixels to the left of where you hit it or something. It wasn't
I
very accurate, but yeah, they did have like pressure sensitive touchscreen type stuff.
Okay, so do you think they really came up with? I mean, they certainly came up with some of those concepts, like the slide to unlock, probably, and stuff like that,
Yeah,
because it's that's unique.
yeah,
That's unique
slide
to
to unlock was
phones.
an Apple patent actually. Slide to unlock.
But like those pinch to zoom, is that like
I think
even in Minority Reports, I think they might have done somewhat similar because
maybe
they used to move the arms like back and forth there. I wouldn't be surprised if in order to zoom in, either you just
pinch or
pinch or
pull,
double click, double
double tap,
finger, double tap,
double
double
finger.
finger. I'm thinking about something else.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know. I think it's impressive. I think that you will see that VR stuff. Kids will be growing up in VR basically. I mean, imagine that's like the perfect thing for some Matrix style
It is so,
harvesting of body energy. Just put people in a headset and they never know
dude. It is so
about
fucking
reality.
scary. It is so fucking
You can
scary.
really have them live in simulation like the Matrix. That's
Can
fucking
you imagine having a VR set on? You fall asleep to it, and then
uh-huh.
basically when you wake up, you're still there.
And you don't
And then
realize.
maybe, yeah, if you don't know, you just wake up and you're like, oh, like imagine you have a VR set that looks exactly like your bedroom,
Mhm.
and then you
But
just wake up there.
But there are a lot of other things that will create a weird disconnect from reality, or like clue you off to the fact that you're not really in the real reality, which is like, for instance, eating, bodily functions, like things that you need to do. Like
Yeah,
how you would have to make some perfectly synchronized VR thing that was like synchronized to you actually eating in real life to where you would feel like the same sensation or the connection.
yeah.
So I do feel like that it's not 100% like doom and gloom. You know what I mean?
Uh, have you seen Black Mirror for it?
Yeah, well, I've seen 3 or 4 episodes. I haven't seen the whole deal.
I love.
I've seen some good ones
I
though.
think Black Mirror is one of the best series
Yeah?
in the past. I don't know. Probably one of the best series ever. Of course, that's a
Subjective.
subjective thing.
We all know. That's your
But
opinion. You've never even watched Forrest Gump. What do you know?
my favorite TV series ever is Twilight Zone, and I think Black Mirror is thematically very similar.
And a good compliment.
Yes, Twilight Zone had a lot of sci-fi-ish episodes,
Mhm.
and Black Mirror is all about the future and the impact that technology has on us.
I mean, the episodes I've seen of Black Mirror have been amazing, and they've been thought-provoking, and honestly, they've been downright disturbing.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Um,
All of them, or nearly all of them, are.
and that's why I stopped watching it because honestly, they were so disturbing at a
Yeah.
fundamental level, especially some of the ones that I saw.
Hmm.
Um, that I mean, I felt like fuck, man. Like they're so close to reality, or it's so close to home, and they're so believable and so disturbing that I was like, man, I gotta stop watching this,
Yeah.
man. Like this is gonna give me some nightmares, dude.
But that's the thing
I
that
know.
they just feel that if that is not possible right now, it will be possible in 5 or 10 years.
It basically is like the social media episode.
With the
That one.
likes, yeah.
Oh my god, that's like I
It's
mean,
like social media with VR
look
or
at
with the Google Glasses kind
the
of thing,
augmented
right?
reality. I mean,
Yeah.
just look around you. I mean, that's how it is already, even
Mhm.
without the augmented part. It's like a popularity contest. It's ridiculous, man.
Hasn't it always been though?
In some form or fashion, but this has really gamified it to the point where it's I don't know. I think it's way more excessive than past stuff.
Oh,
But
it probably is.
then again,
But
I mean, I'm only like mid 30s, so I mean, it's not like I have a wealth of experience of how it was back in the olden days before computing really
mhm.
took off. I mean, when I was growing up, it was like we were already in the DOS and the Windows 3.1 era. Of course, a little bit before that, before we really had like the old IBM, what was it, AT or XT, the ones with the big 5.25 inch floppies and the green and black screen only. But I mean, that was the tail end of that. Like when I grew up, it was first computer was like a 33 megahertz with 4 megs of RAM, and then a few years after that, I got a modem, and I was on a 100 megahertz machine and with like Windows,
Mhm.
And I mean, ever since, just been connected.
I spaced out for like 10 seconds, and all of a sudden, like, how the fuck did we get into this topic? You're just
Well, first we were talking about
talking about
VR,
specs.
and then we went on to
No, no,
Black
no. Yeah,
Mirror.
no, no.
But,
I meant the specs. Like, I just spaced
oh.
out, and all of a sudden, like, wait,
Well,
wait
just-
for telling me about
well,
this
just to
computer.
give a reference, because I was just saying that I don't really have any concept of how life was before computing was so pervasive. I mean, it
Yeah.
was, to be fair, back in the day, it was far less pervasive. And to be on the internet when you had a 28.8 modem, you kind of had to know like what you were doing, like just to even get a computer hooked up to the internet. I mean, it
Mhm.
wasn't just complete chump
Yeah,
change
plug and play,
until
yeah.
AOL came out with the CD that basically, it's like made it pretty much idiot proof.
Mhm.
But I mean, when you had to configure your own PPP and TCP/IP connection and like, set all the DNS servers and everything, it wasn't like people didn't have a wealth of knowledge about that yet. And so you had to be a guy that was really going to go out there and read the documentation. And even if you got connected, like, oh, what are you going to do now? Like, you need a web browser. And I mean, back then it wasn't so ubiquitous, or like IRC, like getting on IRC chat back in the day. If you were there, like you were in the company of people who also kind of knew what they were doing.
Mhm.
You weren't just on there as an accident.
Do you miss those days?
Um, Maybe I look back on them and think of them more fondly, but I did have some sort of technological wonder or curiosity about the whole thing. Like the internet itself
Yeah,
just seems so magical.
It was magical. Yeah, I
And
felt the same.
Nowadays, I feel like it's not very magical. Like, of course, it's amazing.
It's commonplace now.
And what would I do without it in my life? I don't know. But it doesn't hold that same sense of wonder
No,
for
but-
me anymore.
But it's commonplace.
Yeah.
You just
Yeah.
basically you're exposed to it all day, every day for the past 15 years.
Yeah,
maybe more?
More, probably.
So I mean,
Yeah, absolutely more, yeah, that's
it's going to be difficult to hold a sense of wonder
That long.
that long.
But it does never cease to amaze me, the kind of cool shit you can do. Like,
No, yeah, but that's not the internet itself
No,
anymore. It's
that's the products
people,
that are
let's
built
say.
on
Yeah,
it and
the
everything.
people.
Yeah.
But yeah, I remember I was pretty late.
You got it.
having
Your first
internet?
was on cable, right?
Yeah, my first internet was cable. It's like
Lucky bastard.
2002. Well, I don't.
I wish
yeah,
my
you-
first experience had been on cable. I mean, because it was such a step up. I remember downloading MP3s
Yes.
back in 1990. I don't know. Was it 98, 97? So, anyways, I remember downloading that shit like just a 3 megabyte song on a fucking modem, dude.
I
It
know,
was like
for-
an hour to download like half of a song.
I know because I used to go to my friend's place to
Jeez.
just be on the internet. I'm telling you, I don't dislike the fact that my first internet connection was cable. I dislike the fact that my first internet connection was in the early 2000s.
Came too late.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You missed out on the whole modem, loading up porn on a modem.
Well, I didn't miss out because I remember
yes,
being
fair.
at my friend's place, you know?
But I remember you like back then, I mean, videos weren't really a
No, no,
thing. Like
no. It's
yeah, it was
JPEGs.
just JPEGs. And you remember they had the progressive interlace thing where you
Yes,
would pull the
yes.
image up and it would load slowly and it would just be a big blob. And then suddenly it would start like row by row. It would
Yeah.
come in. It was so depressing.
It's like Tetris. Every
Yeah.
time you make a line, you see a little bit more.
Mm-hmm. Oh, well.
It's the good old times. It's not good old times.
Speaking of the good old times, how about when you get on the train in Denmark?
What happens when I get on the train? How many people do you think get on the train for it? Every day.
Well, we got an article in front of us that shows the number. Should I cheat?
Don't come on. Just make
Uh,
it seem like you're
all right. If I hadn't
really
seen the
smart.
article, would I
Yeah.
think about how many? I'd say like a million. If I
Oh,
don't
okay.
know,
I know. I was
6 million people in Denmark, I would think a million take the train.
just setting this up for you for that. I don't really care about what you think. I just wanted you to look smart. Sound smart.
All right. Well, tens of thousands of people delayed on the trains every day, Dolph.
Is that surprising? Is that news?
Last year was a terrible year for punctuality, but 2017 has been an improvement. If you use public transport to commute to work in Denmark, there's a pretty decent chance you've experienced delays on your travels. Well, no shit. The consumer organization for Brugerroll Tank reveals that 80,000 train passengers endured delays on a daily basis across Denmark in 2016. Those figures are not acceptable, according to the deputy head of that think tank.
Is this really news?
No. In total, trains in Denmark transport about 547,000 passengers every day. So 500,000 about.
So you were
off.
off by about this 500,000.
Yeah. So the 80,000 constantly delayed passengers last year accounted for 14.5%. Damn, man. I will say that, I mean, I experienced this at least on the regional trains. I don't think that the other trains have as much of a problem. Like Metro and Esto seems to be, they run pretty smooth. I think I looked at the numbers on the DR article on this, which I couldn't find for this, but the regional train numbers are so bad. Like the actual the real trains, you know what I mean? Not just like the Metro light rail or the Esto. But I think it's something like 25% of all of the trains are delayed by like several minutes or more. And I've experienced it here. When I used to take the train to Central Station from here, and now I just take the Metro every time because I just can't be bothered to wait for a train. First off, it's like once every 20 minutes it's supposed to come, and then it's like, oh, this one's going to be delayed like by a few minutes, and you're like, all right. And then a few minutes come, and it's like, oh, sorry, we've actually just completely canceled this train, so you're gonna have to wait another 20. So you wait like 40 fucking minutes.
Yeah.
It's really frustrating. But yeah, I don't know. It's not really news to anybody who lives here.
Yeah, that's what solution? Get some Mussolini kind of guy here.
Maybe get some competent people in the that work at the head of DSB to figure the fucking problem out. I mean, I don't understand. It's pretty simple. You just make sure that the trains are on time, that you have enough trains,
There you go.
and that you
That's
have
the quote
enough
I wanted.
train conductors, and that you have enough rails, and that your plan is laid out in a proper way to where things run smoothly. Because surely it's possible. You can see from the Esto and from the Metro that it's very possible to have a train system that mostly runs on time. So what is it about the DSB stuff that's the biggest problem?
But what happens then when your train gets 30 seconds delayed because some chump is blocking the door because his friend is running 200 meters behind,
It already happens on the Metro and stuff, but it still doesn't cause a huge problem.
Yeah, but the Metro runs like every 2 minutes. So even if one of them is late, you barely notice it.
Well, maybe that's okay. Then maybe that's the problem. Maybe they need to have more frequent stops on the regional trains.
Well, yeah, but then they might not make. I don't know if they're supposed to make a profit or like if they're state owned or not. But regardless, they can't just be running on a deficit the whole time. Like if you put more trains, it's going to be more expensive. Either they raise the ticket prices. Or,
don't you think the ticket prices are already pretty fucking expensive? Do you think it's a money issue? Do you think they don't have enough money to be on time, or do you think it's just an incompetence issue?
I don't know for it. I don't know. I'm just saying that it's very tricky because a lot of things can make the train delay. Like it can be just someone holding the door for like 5 stops in a row. If you waste a few seconds on each of them. It could be, I don't know, it could be so many things. Could be something in the track. Could be maybe there's too many trains like merging onto the same few tracks, so one of them has to stop
Yeah.
unexpectedly because one of them was delayed. So it's
I get
just
it. There's a lot of problems, but I mean, it's not like a completely like it's not like a system like a highway where you're dealing with completely uncontrolled variables like people
no.
in
You have the
cars.
tracks.
You
Yeah.
have a track, and so you know the complete throughput, and you know the general time and delay between trains that you need to keep a safe distance, and you have signals and GPS tracking them all the time, and you understand you have people on the trains driving them. So I mean, surely it's not only a problem of just resources. There has to be some sort of incompetence in management, or maybe the system they have isn't that good, or the signals don't have a high enough resolution to keep a short delay between each train, or yeah, maybe there's some problems with the doors or whatever. But I mean, you shouldn't just be like, well, okay, I guess that we'll just accept that the fact that this sucks. Surely in a modern
No.
country, you can fucking improve it a little bit.
We should strive for perfection. I agree with that.
Shoot for the
But,
moon, and if you land in the stars, that's what you did.
beautiful.
Fuck the
Yeah.
regional train. I hate that fucking thing.
That stars comment. I forgot what I was gonna say.
Anyways, I avoid taking a regional train if at all possible. If there's any other option, I will avoid taking that regional train because it's always fucking late.
I just think it's trickier than what you were describing. It's
Yeah,
like almost everything.
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's a little more complicated than just the bare bones, but I mean, that's for a normal person. When your job, let's say you're like an astrophysicist. If some chump tells you, oh, yeah, well, whatever, to be able to get to the moon and come back should be easy. We did it in the 60s. And you tell him, no, I'm actually an astrophysicist. And it's a little more complicated than just fucking saying we can do it. Like there's a lot of calculations and variables that have to go into it. But that's your fucking job. That's what you do. And so, yeah, for you and me, maybe designing a fully functional rail network that never has delays or has minimal delays seems like we can say it's easy, and in reality, it's not. But there's an entire state-funded, organization that has nothing to do except work on public transportation problems and make money from it. Like that's their fucking job. That's like going to a doctor and, he doesn't know how to operate on you or whatever. That's his fucking job. Get the trains on time. Stop fucking around.
I like it for it. I like. I don't know why I did what I did, but I like bringing out
You trolling me.
the inner
Stop showing
grumbler in you.
Mm-hmm.
So grumble about something else for it. Come on. What are you looking at? You don't want to grumble about this.
I don't know if this is a grumble topic. I mean, there's a lot of people going to be coming to Copenhagen soon. But what do we got here? I'm just checking. All right, Here's an article I saw. Let me hit you with this. What if I told you that in 2021, Copenhagen was chosen to host World Pride?
Yeah. What if you told me?
What would you think about that?
What did I think about it?
Think it's a net positive or a net negative?
Why would it be negative?
I don't know. There was people complaining about this on the Denmark subreddit or the Copenhagen subreddit or something. So I guess Copenhagen has been chosen to hold like one of the biggest LGBT festivals in the world, or I don't know if it's festival is the right word, but like a gathering of LGBT people and stuff like that. It's the it's biennial event. Is that once every 2 years? I think it is.
Or twice a year. I never know.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that either. It's the world's largest LGBT festival and expected to attract hundreds of thousands of visitors. That seems a little bit like a problem for Copenhagen that has a population in the greater area of about 1 million, 1.2 million, something. I mean, getting 400,000 visitors is like 25% of the entire city.
How many people were in Distortion?
80,000, I think.
80,000. It was something around those numbers, right?
So you're talking 3 or 4, maybe even 5 times that is what people were saying on the subreddit.
To be fair, I mean, it's
a lot of fucking people.
It's supposedly a bit more spread out because Distortion is like in a neighborhood.
Yeah.
And this would be in the city, I guess. I don't know.
But I mean, imagine.
But it's a lot of people. Why? How do they come up with those numbers? Is it people who went to other
on all the
events?
other ones? Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, think about it. If it's, let's say 400,000 people show up, that means every third person that you see in the streets is like a foreigner, like somebody who came here for the thing.
Yeah, that's a lot of people.
I mean, that's a lot of fucking extra people. Like everybody's a tourist almost. But anyway,
Well, that's good for the economy, right?
I think so too. I think one of the complaints that some of the people had in there, well, one guy said, well, why can't we get one of these big events that we actually want? So
That's
maybe he
stupid.
had some homophobic, angle on it. But also, I think there were some other comments about how many people it is and all the trash and stuff it's going to generate in the city and like general inconvenience for everybody that lives here
Hmm.
and stuff like that. Because when you do have a big influx of people coming and getting drunk and
Yeah.
kind of acting a fool maybe or throwing trash, there's always going to be shit like that.
Oh, just put them all in Ama.
Ugh, fuck off, Dolph.
There's a lot of space here. We have a fucking forest.
Yeah. Anyways, I mean, I guess yeah, the managing director at Happy Copenhagen is said we're ecstatic at the prospect of hosting World Pride. It'll put human rights, diversity, and inclusivity front and center to promote equality around the world. Copenhagen is also bidding to host the Euro Games in 2021, which plans to combine it with World Pride into one mega event.
What's the Euro Games?
I don't know, actually.
Can you Google it?
Well, I guess I could. Got a keyboard right here. Euro Games is a German. No, this is a company. No.
Put just
Denmark maybe in here.
so multi-sport event. Go back. I saw an article there.
European multi-sport event
yeah.
governed by the European Gay and Lesbian Sport Federation.
Oh, okay. So it's like a LGBT Olympics or what?
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know.
But
yeah, it's going to be hosted in Rome in 2019 and Dusseldorf in 2020.
But the gay like lesbian, gay, LGBT people, they can already
play in sports,
play in the Olympics, right?
Yeah, I don't know.
They have their own
participants.
Sport events?
Participants from all areas of Europe and even outside Europe participated in this unique event. However, to ensure as many Europeans as possible can take part, participants from outside Europe are put on a waiting list. I don't know.
Okay, but
anyways, so it's an LGBT games thing. I guess they can play soccer and different other sports or something.
Yeah, but I guess everybody can play.
Well,
they can't say no discrimination on the website and then not allow
non-LGBT people
straight
to play.
Cisgendered people not to play. You know?
Yeah, I guess so. Well, I mean, there's going to be a lot of people in the city.
Yeah, I'd like to hear about the different reasons for people to not want this to take place, because I understand that. Yeah, if all of a sudden you have 400,000 more people in Copenhagen, it could cause some. I wouldn't say attrition, but it would cause some.
It's going to cause a little bit of friction between the like at some point, people are going to be annoyed that the metro and the trains are even more delayed, or that they can't get their tasty burger they usually got because the queue is like an hour long or whatever. I get it. I'm not a big fan of really huge cities because I think the more people you have, I think arguably the worse the experience gets for everybody. Like London. I fucking hate London. There's too many people.
Yeah, but New York is awesome.
Yeah, I don't know. I've never been to New York, but it's too many fucking people.
New York is so awesome. I mean, I
How about all that trash in the morning?
Well, it's just
you don't care about all that.
With it, I don't know. I mean, I never lived in New York, but I've spent. What's the longest I've spent there? Maybe 10 days.
That's not enough to really know the place, though. I mean, imagine you live.
No,
there
I mean in a row.
Yeah, 10 days in a row. But I'm just saying that's still. Like you get a slice or a taste of what it's
sure,
like, but it's not like living there.
No, I'm not saying it is, but comparing someone who spent maybe 2-3 weeks total in there and someone who has spent zero minutes.
Yeah, fair enough. But I've been to other big cities, and all I can tell you is it's regardless of the city's culture and whether you think the city's cool or not, because you saw it on Seinfeld or something.
Jeez, holy shit! You're really just pulling shit out of your ass. Huh?
Yeah. It's just too many fucking people, dude. I don't like that many people around me.
I understand.
It's annoying.
I understand.
They're in my way. Get out of my fucking way and let me walk on the sidewalk.
Well, you're basically describing a New Yorker.
Yeah.
That's how New Yorkers feel.
Maybe that's how I should. Yeah, maybe I'd love
so
it.
So you just
there,
hate tourists. That's the thing. You just hate people too.
No, it's not just tourists though. It's annoying when I have to deal with too many people on the sidewalk, even here, that aren't tourists. Get out of my way. Let me walk.
Where do you have to go that you're in such a rush?
Danish class. The thing I hate most is when people seriously. Here's what I hate the most about too many people on the sidewalk is there's without a doubt there's always those fucking people who kind of meander about and bumble fuck around, not really trying to go anywhere in particular, but just kind of making sure that they amble about in a way that blocks everybody behind them from getting around to where you have to not only like walk around them, but they're with their three friends and they're all just kind of like blocking the whole fucking wall. You got to walk out into the road to get around.
You want to know a trick for it?
What's that?
You kick them in the ankles and you say, "I'm sorry."
Is that the trick?
Yes.
Just
I've never done this, by the way. Just
kick him in the ass cheek. Get the fuck out of the way.
Kick. It's not a kick. Like you don't pull your leg back. It's not like you're fucking.
It's one of those
penalty
annoying.
kick.
It's one of those annoying ankle biter things where you barely like you step and you step down onto their heel slightly so that it kind of trips them up. It's not like a kick. It's like you accidentally stepped on them.
It's just I'm here,
Oh,
I mean, it might be a bit tricky here in Denmark because people are so tall. It might be a bit tricky to just breathe down on the back of their neck,
Mm-hmm.
So you need to do the next best thing, which
you can walk behind them and just kind of go.
No, that's not going to work because if it's too loud, if there's the whole city is under fucking construction,
Yeah.
So if it's too loud, it doesn't work. But if you just kind of kick them in the ankle, say, "Oh, I'm sorry," I mean, they're going to get out of the way.
Are you going to say, "Oh, I'm sorry"? You're going to say, "Undskyld"?
Undskyld.
Yeah.
See, I got it.
Maybe. I don't know.
I never tried that, but I'm sure it works.
More than 1 or 2 million people is too many people for a city for me, Dolph.
Well, it depends on the size of the city.
In some way, the surrounding area, yes. I mean, the larger that surrounding area and the density of those people, it is kind of a thing. But when you're talking about the city center, like even, for instance, Houston, it's really spread out and 12 million people. But downtown and that whole area is still a clusterfuck. It's still too many people there. So that's what I'm getting at. At a certain number of people, at some point, everybody's going to want to come to where the action is, which is in the city of center. So even if the rest of the entire area is really spread out and not very dense, you kind of have like a single point of failure, or like a kind of a choke point, if you will.
Why do you think that is? What do you think the solution could be? Let's play urban planners.
Urban planners. I don't have. I got nothing. I really got nothing.
Because I don't understand. I don't entirely understand why everything needs to be happening in the center, so to say, or in downtown.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
but you do want to have things not very far. Like you don't want to have a bar area which spans like 4 kilometers because you might want to go to this bar hop, and you don't want to walk 400 meters just to go to the next bar.
Yeah. I don't know, man. I mean, that's probably why I'm not a city planner. It's because I don't have any better ideas on that. But I can tell you that
Have you never made maps for Doom or Quake or anything like that?
Yeah, I think I did actually work on some Doom maps when I was young. I remember buying a book and a whole CD-ROM set about that.
That's urban planning.
A huge book. Man, this thing must have been, it was heavy.
But what was the book about?
It was all about creating Doom WAD files and stuff like that, and the maps.
Okay.
It was, I was
to make mods.
Yeah, I was really into Doom. I mean, I read there was even some novels written by a guy about the Doom universe as well. I read those, and I played a lot of it when I was young. And
have you read the id Software the biography? No, not biography. It's
the history behind ID. I've seen the video. I have not read the book.
Oh no! There's a book by this writer. I really like him. I forgot his name.
Yeah, it's called like the Creators of Doom or something like that. It's basically, I know what you're talking
Masters
about.
of Doom.
Yeah, it's recommended
like
a lot. It's recommended a lot.
That book is so good. That book is so good that I think that was the first book that I bought from the guy.
Yeah.
And then I just bought all these other books. Well, he also has one about John Finkel, which is a Magic the Gathering player. So I knew him, and
Yeah. Well, I need to read it. I've heard good things about it.
You should. I recommend everybody read it right after you watch Black Mirror.
Yeah, right after you watch Forrest Gump and The Notebook, right?
I see a challenge coming up.
Did you ever watch the Elon Musk thing we talked about?
No, but I don't.
You don't care about making humans a multiplanetary species?
Well, yeah, you guys already told me all about it,
Not all about it. There's plenty of stuff in there. You don't know the specs of the rocket.
Well, you don't know if it's all about it because there's other people who told me about it. So maybe.
Mm-hmm.
This is stupid.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I think that's about it for this week. They've got a few more articles, but they're pretty lame.
They're crappy. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. How long have we been?
I think it's about an hour and 30, hour and 35. It's kind of our normal time. Don't you think?
That's fine for it.
1
I can
hour.
just keep going. You know, I'm.
Yeah, me too. 1 hour and 32 minutes. It's just the thing is, once we get to a certain length, it becomes difficult to edit the audio down.
It's all good for it. Let's do
I
it.
think we've done a good job. I can
You think
sign
people-
off. I can sign off today
Proudly.
feeling like I did a hard day's work on this podcast. What about you?
Yeah, I guess.
All
I
right.
guess so. It's a hard day of work.
Well, with that, we'll wrap it up. Are we going to do one next week?
Yeah, why not?
I don't know. We've been doing them on Sundays because you've been having stuff on Saturday.
Well, I just have shit happening. I mean,
All right.
can't blame me.
I don't blame you,
It's
though.
life for it.
I'll see you
Yeah, I
next
have a
week.
VR set, you know?
All right. Until next week, then.